but no, they are not preparing them. So a lot of people's houses, I say children with junky rooms grow up to be adults with junky houses or cluttered, disorganized houses. So in my experience in seeing over 2,200 appointments and projects, the answer is no, it's not happening. I think 2,200 is a large enough sample size to say it's not happening on a large scale. It may be happening in pockets, it may be an anomaly, but it's not taking place at all. And that's why we're here. That's why 6.8 billion unaccountable adults. So I was waiting for Nola to come back to the car. I was scrolling because I knew she was going to be quick. So I was like, I can't read. I don't have enough time to read. She's going to be back. I'm scrolling through TikTok, and there was an African-American woman. I would venture to say that she's about 62, has a large following. And she did a video and she said, I'm sick of all this profanity. I can't even shop. I can't buy nothing because every time I turn around, somebody is cursing. Stop. What? All of this. So she kind of went ham. And I went to the comments and people were saying, that's right. That's why I just follow Jesus and they need the Lord. And this is, and they so ignorant. And that just shows you how ignorant they are. And they're just going on and on and on and on. I was a little bit incensed. So I put this as a comment. I've yet to hear back from them. I said, I have three, I use profanity. I'm a micro influencer on 3 platforms. I have 3 degrees and I have 5 communication certifications. And a better question would be, why do people use profanity? Because I use it and I know when I use it and I know why I'm using it. So I respect your perspective. But if you'd like to hear why I use profanity, feel free to ask. And I haven't heard back from them. It's been almost 24 hours, been about 21 hours. And so for the rest of the day, I asked myself, well, what are you saying? How are you saying yours is different? Because people are like, ours is better, ours is better, ours is better. And so I had this conversation with Nola. And what Nola said is they're hypocrites. So they want to talk about they're not using profanity, but they might be overweight. And gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins if you're a Christian. They might be drinking. The house could be in disarray. They might be a terrible employee. But because they don't do this one thing over here, they want to hang their hat on that and say, I'm better than you. And it's hypocritical. And so that's what I came to this point is unaccountable people are all concerned about what it looks like, and it's not going to change anything. My message is no less potent because I said motherfucker. Sometimes somebody might need to get called a motherfucker because that's the best word choice for the day. And because of my ability to communicate effectively, whether I'm talking to people in the streets or if I'm talking to people in boardrooms, I have the ability to do both, which is why one of the 74 principles of real leadership is to communicate effectively. And so unaccountable people, everything is what it looks like. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it can't be a pigeon, but it actually is. And nobody is saying, how can we change the brain? How can we wire the brain to whatever it is that you're talking about? No one's focused on it. And even Jim Quick and what he's doing, it's not enough. It's not enough to get you the best. You can use it, but are you going to be at your best? And that's where I come into play to get you that from Chris Henry 70% all the way to the best to your 100% level. Those are the things that I was thinking about yesterday, and I'm always self-analyzing, and that's what the whole point is to make a short story very long, is that's what I do. I self-reflect. I see something, a human interaction that's taking place, and then I go within, and then I have a response based upon that, based upon the 74 principles of real leadership that actually work, because it's going to change something. Saying that you can't buy lipstick and that people are using profanity without getting to root cause analysis as to why people use profanity and then attaching it to religion, because that's what people do. You want to make somebody stop something, just throw a religious reference in there, and this is why you need to stop doing that. But if you don't say, well, prune that neural pathway, syntax versus syntax, how can you get them to start behaving? You just need to behave differently. How? If you don't prune the profanity neural pathway and replace it with reading and self-reflection and analysis, what words? Because it was saying stop cursing, but what do you replace those words with? If you're going to say don't use this word, you're going to have to increase your personal lexicon, your own personal vocabulary to stop saying motherfucker and say gentleman, lady. You're going to need to do that, but to just say stop doing it, that's not going to help the situation. And then to be self-righteous and say Jesus don't want you cursing. I would venture to say when he tore that shit up in the tabernacle that some F-bombs probably got dropped. I wasn't there, I don't know, but hey, it is what it is. So the moral of the story is this.